The Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 9, when he gives us a list of the remarkable blessings that have come to us through the Jewish people, says an interesting thing. He says, from the Jewish people, we've received the covenants. He does not put that in the singular, but in the plural. And I would wager that most Christians have little understanding of what Paul was saying there. For them, the new covenant is essentially everything, and all the other covenants are somehow out there in orbit. But how they interconnect, they have no idea. Now,
how important is it to understand this then?
Very, very important. And that's why we need to establish this fact, that the Abrahamic Covenant is the most important covenant in the whole of the Bible.
Why?
In fact. To answer that question, we have to look at the book of Genesis, where in chapter 3 we have the record of the fall of humankind. And thereafter, the pages of Genesis document the plunge of humanity away from God. So that by the time you get to Genesis 11, you have this awful picture of man alienated from God, excluded from the presence of God, and without hope, as Paul said in Ephesians 2, dead in sins, dominated by the prince of the power of the air, and of course doomed. Then in Genesis 12 we have what we call the watershed of history, when God comes looking for the human race. And that's why I say to people, sort of with tongue in cheek, nobody ever found Jesus, Julia, because he wasn't lost. He came looking for us. And God did this in a very peculiar way, and that is by virtue of the Abrahamic Covenant. So why is the Abrahamic Covenant so important? Because it is God's decision to save the world. It's the covenant of decision.